Going to be in the riff zone.
Oh, we're heading there. Buckle up, kids.
Oh, trust me, we're gonna riff a lot on this one.
It involves like literal riffing, but
oh, trust me, there'll be a lot of riffing and actual riffing on this one as well. So if you guys are ready, I can get into it.
Yeah,
go for it.
Well,
all right, so my segment, and Jess, you might have heard about this band before, and Evan, I'm sure you've heard about this band because I talk about them nonstop. Are you guys familiar with the band Anal Cunt?
Yeah, I've heard Anal Cunt.
Oh, so I'm going to read some very select paragraphs from the Wikipedia article about Anal Cunt to our audience who may not know about this illustrious Massachusetts band.
Rest in peace, Seth Putnam.
Fuck yeah, dude. Seth Putnam is such a cool guy. He was very sensitive to women and cared about their feelings.
Just a complete humanitarian, ahead of his time. Just oozes intentionality.
Just woke as fuck. It's just great.
Impossible.
Cool,
just impossible.
All right, so Anal Cunt, also known as AXCX and AC, was an American grindcore band that formed in Massachusetts in 1988. From its inception, the band underwent a number of lineup changes and never had a bass player. That's a great sign of a band. Known for its grindcore musical style and controversial lyrics. We'll get to that in a little bit. Anal Cunt released 8 full-length studio albums in addition to a number of compilations and EPs. Anal Cunt was formed in Massachusetts by Seth Putnam, who had previously been a member of bands such as Executioner and Satan's Warriors. I'm sure those bands were fantastic as well. The name Anal Cunt came from Seth Putnam's attempt to, quote-unquote, get the most offensive, stupid, dumb, etc. name possible.
Yeah,
God.
That was the goal of those times. It was simpler times.
A common misconception is that the band is named after the G.G. Allin song Anal Cunt. But in fact, Allin's song was written years after the band had started. The band did, however, later in their career, render tribute to him by recording a version of, quote-unquote, I'll slice your fucking throat if you fuck with me, originally recorded by G.G. Allin and the Murder Junkies. Now, have you guys actually listened to Anal Cunt as a band?
I only the I Respect Your Feelings as a Woman song.
I fucking love that song so much. That whole EP is that whole LP is fantastic. It's so good. It's called Picnic of Love.
Actually, there was another song that I probably listened to, but I cannot remember it by name.
I think I probably posted the Picnic of Love songs just for a fucking giggle.
Probably.
So the band's first performance was in 1988 at Putnam's mother's house in front of some family members, namely his mother, his 2 little brothers, and his grandmother, as well as some of his mother's friends.
Oh my god.
Can you imagine playing grindcore in front of your grandmother? Imagine playing Anal Cunt in front of your grandmother.
I wish I'd done that. I'll never get that opportunity again.
She had something to say about the mat or like the fucking. It's like who like you guys have to do a better job of like mixing these songs. Like you got to get a compressor on that bass.
Oh yeah, they're just sitting there complaining about the sound quality.
His grandmother is like, listen, I like this, but it's not nearly cavult enough for.
Yeah.
Several
I
other
like
small
the lyrics, but you've really got to work on your audio production if you're gonna get this to sound good. It's like, but that's the whole point, Grandma. It's supposed to sound like shit. But no, I'm sorry. I'm just.
What did you say the name was? Anal Funt? Anal Bunt?
Anal Bunt cake. I'm sorry.
Oh, shit. Several other small performances followed in various basements and living rooms before their first public show live over the radio at Brandeis University, with Anal Cunt being the latest in the long line of Putnam's bands who had performed in this way. This was scheduled to be the band's first and only show. Putnam invited future member Fred Ordonez from the band Shit Scum, another fantastic band, I'm sure, to the show, but he failed to show up. As a result, it was arranged for the 2 bands, Anal Cunt and Shit Scum, to play together so Ordonez could see Putnam's band, and a further show was arranged at Shit Scum's rented practice warehouse. Could you imagine a band called Shit Scum actually having an actual warehouse to play at? That wasn't like a squatter's den. It was a place he actually paid money for.
I'm just imagining they got this just big ass like airplane hangar, and it's just like 5 guys with really shitty equipment, and they go to practice, and the sound just echoes for like 20 years.
Remember, no bassist either, so it's just like fast as shit guitars with no rhythm and like this giant like airport hangar somewhere.
Yeah.
Because as we all know, you can construct heavy metal groups without bass guitars.
Their first demo was recorded on a 4-track in April of 1988 in his mother's attic. But this has never been mixed, released, or heard by anyone outside of the band. Oh, I would love to hear that.
There's probably like some fucking like Seth Putnam like equivalent of Paisley Park for Prince, where there's like 7,000 albums of grindcore just ready to go.
Following appearances in a few other bands, Seth Putnam and Tim Morris decided to reform Anal Cunt on March 1st, 1991, exactly 3 years after they had initially formed. After the band's reformation, they decided they wanted to change their style to avoid getting bored again. I mean, obviously, playing Anal Cunt's original songs, you just get bored of them pretty quick. They're just they're so standard and non-chaotic.
And they take so long. Like they're
too long.
Yeah, they're really long tracks.
The guitarist for the new, slightly more musical Anal Cunt was originally supposed to be future member Paul Cranack, or was supposed to include Paul Cranack, but ended up being Fred Ordonez, an ex-boxer, which will come in handy very later on, trust me. Some more EPs followed, including the world's, get this one, first acoustic noisecore record.
What?
Why is it that these bands and these like black metal adjacent people just strive for the worst sounding names and just everything in existence?
Oh, and speaking of black metal, Seth Putnam also had an acoustic black metal band as well.
That's great. I see, that's just to fuck around, I feel like, because that defeats the entire purpose of those genres.
It really fucking does. Oh God! But so after the Noisecore album, Seth Putnam finally decided to introduce some elements of real songs into the band's material. Seth Putnam and Tim Morris tried out this idea in his 6-song session in 1992, just before Putnam successfully auditioned for the reformed thrashcore band Siege. But it was a while before the plans were fully realized. Later that year in 1991, Anal Cunt decided on a European tour. Despite the fact that Tim Morris pulled out at the last minute, the tour still went ahead, with the band deciding to find a drummer while they were recording. The 2 drummers who auditioned were not fast enough for the band, so Anal Cunt decided to just have the 2 of them playing the same drum kit at the same time for the beginning of the tour before resorting to just using the faster of the 2.
Jesus Christ.
That's such a fucking amazing move. I don't know. That's so that really captures the aesthetic right there.
So good, I love it. Most of the shows consisted of Putnam and Ordonez going out to the crowd, punching people and destroying equipment,
yes.
not only because of their drunkenness, but to conceal the fact the drummer did not know how to play their songs. On returning to the U.S., Anal Cunt decided to get a second guitarist who could carry on playing with the drummer during the violence and shouting.
Oh, man. Oh.
This is how you make real music.
You love to have a rhythm section that doesn't know the song. I don't know. I mean, it worked for the Sex Pistols. Sid Vicious could not play his instrument, so like,
I want one of those like lay wrong generation people who's like, man, music nowadays sucks, but that person to only be like an Anal Cunt fan, be like, man, yeah. No band is as good as Anal Cunt nowadays.
Yeah, why are there no bands this fucking awesome?
Although Anal Cunt had released a lot of material, the records are mostly out of print and hard to find. So they got in contact with Earache Records, which had previously shown an interest in the band. What record label would want to show an interest in Anal Cunt? I mean, seriously.
Clearly one that has no idea what's going on.
Well, I mean, Earache did sign a bunch of fucking, like noisy ass bands and shit, so
Oh, like Earache was like a legit like record label. It's just funny that they were like, oh yeah, let's just sign this band that's formed by this like bigoted drunkard and his ex-boxer like fucking guitarist. They just go around beating people up and not making music and not making money. That sounds like a great business investment.
Yeah.
Anal Cunt wanted a label that would not only keep their records in stock, but also pay for their tours. As the band at the time was operating essentially at a loss. Oh, I wonder how that happened. Earache replied to Anal Cunt asking to hear some new material. The band thereupon went into a studio in September to record what would later be released on Relapse Records as Morbid Florist, which Morbid Florist is like their first actual album, which, once again, actual album in quotation marks, right? Fred Ordonez briefly quit, but was invited to rejoin after unsuccessful searches for replacement, and Earache Records decided to sign them. Anal Cunt started recording their first album on the label, Everyone Should Be Killed, in March 1993. Soon afterwards, Ordonez was kicked out of the band for good and was replaced by Paul Cranach. He was put on hold for a short West Coast tour in mid-1993, after which Cranach too quit the band. This was also the tour when Putnam got arrested for hitting a woman in the face with a microphone in San Francisco.
Jesus Christ.
In January 1996, Putnam hired a new guitarist, Josh Martin. Oh, and trust me, Josh Martin will have a very sad end at the end of this. Just give you a fair warning. Martin was a student at New York University in 1994 to 1995 when Anal Cunt used to play in New York a lot, and they became good friends. Indeed, this was a friendship that would continue as Putnam and Martin would join forces later in Adolf Satan, an acoustic black metal band.
Fuck yes. Adolf Satan. That is a hilarious name, I'll say that.
Once again, playing acoustic black metal. What's cooler than that?
I don't know.
Martin moved to Boston following his graduation and was appointed by Putnam as the new Anal Cunt guitarist. This dude graduated college and his first move was like, yeah, I'm going to be in this fucking band called Anal Cunt that makes no money. What the fuck was his degree in that was that useless that his only career trajectory was to join Anal Cunt?
Hey, are you telling me that you wouldn't want to join Anal Cunt? Like, given the chance right now?
I mean, listen, if it was right now, sure, but I don't also have a degree from like an accredited university. So.
I'm gonna vote no on that because I can play actual music.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. After trying out for a lot of drummers, they hired a drummer, Nate Linehan. And once again, we'll talk about how great of a person Seth Putnam is. This really shows it right here in this next paragraph. During a show in 2000 in Providence, Rhode Island, Drop Dead opened for Anal Cunt. But when Anal Cunt took the stage, Putnam began insulting Bob Otis from Drop Dead, and eventually the audience, he was throwing out racial slurs and performing Nazi salutes.
Oh.
Otis eventually got on stage and knocked Putnam off the stage and a fight broke out.
He just had a heated gamer moment on stage. Okay.
Just the heated game moment just lasted his entire musical career. Anal Cunt disbanded once again in December of 2001, but reformed shortly afterwards in August 2003 with the lineup of Putnam, Martin, and Linehan. However, after one practice, Martin was forced to leave the band due to him going to jail. Putnam brought John Kozak back to replace him. After a few gigs in late 2003, including one opening for Super Joint Ritual, which is a band, who the fuck was the vocalist for Pantera? Phil Anselmo. That was Phil Anselmo's band, I believe. And Phil Anselmo and Seth Putnam were very good friends. In fact, Seth Putnam actually did backing vocals for the Great Southern Trendkill.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's like probably the one thing that most normies might know him from, but just accidentally.
I'm going to have to listen to Great Southern Trendkill again.
And they did a short Japanese tour in January 2004 with Napalm Death.
Hell yes.
And Pig Destroyer. But so like legit grindcore bands that these guys fucking played with.
What's the fucking line? Like what classifies you as not a real grindcore band?
I would that's a good question because grindcore is extremely chaotic. I mean, I would assume like real in the sense that like people. I can't even say you haven't heard of them because no one's heard of the vast majority of grindcore bands. I feel like if you were a grindcore band but you sounded like Britney Spears, you could not be a grindcore band. Like you sound like
wouldn't that be the most grindcore thing possible?
It could be. It could be. Like, imagine having really clean vocals, but just having like shitty grindcore like instrumentation in the background. That would rip, honestly. I'd be for that.
Well, hold on. I'm gonna play my favorite Napalm Death song.
You Suffer.
There we go. That was it.
That's 1 second long, bitch.
I think it's less than a second. But God, yes.
Yep, it is. It is the Guinness Book of World Records shortest song, "You Suffer" by Napalm Death.
You Suffer.
Linehan left the band yet again in 2004. He was replaced by a man named John Gillis. So here is, I know I said it before, one of my favorites. This is my actual favorite part of the Wikipedia article. On October 12, 2004, Putnam was hospitalized after ingesting a cocktail of crack cocaine, alcohol, heroin, and 2 months worth of Ambien sleeping pills.
Ooh. I was going to say, like, if you want to sleep, why were you smoking crack? But
yeah, right. It has been reported. It has been reported that he spent the previous day contemplating suicide, though exact circumstances surrounding the drug overdose are vague. Anal Cunt's 1997 album "I Like It When You Die" contained the track "You're in a Coma." Putnam's reaction to the resulting irony of being in a coma was published in the Boston Phoenix, quote unquote, from the man himself. What was that, Evan?
No, you're probably going to say the quote.
Yes. Quote unquote, this is actually what Seth Putnam said. Actually, it turned out it was just as gay as the song I wrote 9 years ago. Being in a coma was just as fucking stupid as I wrote it was.
Amazing.
That's great. Oh my God.
King shit.
Anal Cunt kept performing the song during live shows after the coma, with Putnam sharing anecdotes with the audience before the song.
That actually would be really cool to experience. Not the coma, just seeing like.
Obviously not the coma. That shit's gay.
It's like, yo, being a coma, yo, that shit's gay, bro. That's. In April 2010, Putnam announced that the new album was almost completed. So this is the last album of Anal Cunt's career. The album was delayed due to Josh Martin being in jail for a third time. The lead guitar track were recorded when it was released. when he was released from jail, sorry. On May 11, 2010, Putnam announced that the band decided to split the two recordings into two new albums. The first one was the cock rock songs would be released on an album called Fucking A, in a style similar to that of Motley Crue's debut Too Fast for Love. And the noise grind songs would be released on an album called Wearing Out Our Welcome, which would also feature backing vocals from the members of the Raunchous Brothers, Vaginal Jesus, and Mud Open. I'm sure great bands by themselves. On June 2010, Putnam completed Fucking A. In April 2011, Anal Cunt embarked on what would be their final tour. The last show was on April 30th, 2011 in Cleveland, Ohio. 2011, the band's frontman and founder, Seth Putnam, died of a suspected heart attack, seemingly ending the band. And here's the ending for Josh Martin, sadly. Former guitarist Josh Martin died on May 28, 2018, after accidentally falling off an escalator and hitting his head on a table at the Providence Place Mall in Rhode Island.
Damn, dude! Like, what a really shitty way to go.
Yeah, seriously. After living a life that hardcore, too, to die like that.
A heart attack. Like, I mean, I'm assuming the heart attack was probably because of massive drug overdose.
Oh yeah, I mean,
it hasn't been confirmed, right? But so if he just died of a shitty heart attack, and then this dude died of just like slipping off of an escalator and like smoking his head on a fucking table, that's brutal. That sucks.
That's fucking awful, isn't it? And I wanted to end this with some of my favorite Anal Cunt song titles, and I had to put in parentheses that don't include slurs, because there's a lot of them that include slurs.
Those are your favorites.
Okay, so here we go. Living Colour is my favorite black metal band. If you're familiar with Living Colour, they are a metal band with black people in it. They are not a black.
They made Cult of Personality, right?
Yeah, and honestly, that whole album is really good. I actually like it a lot.
Yeah.
Old Lady Across the Hall with No Life, and what would become a theme in Anal Cunt's discography. I noticed that you're gay, which every album has like 20 songs like, oh, this is gay, that's gay, you're gay. It's like, I just saw the gayest guy on earth, which is a great song. Staying Alive, the Bee Gees song, Oi version.
Oi version.
Yeah.
Oi's like a style
Body
of
by
punk too, but
Body by Auschwitz. Hitler was a sensitive man. Everyone in the underground music scene is stupid. I respect your feelings as a woman and a human. I couldn't afford to buy you a present. Parentheses, so I wrote you this song. I sent concentration camp footage to America's Funniest Home Videos. I
remember seeing that title a long ass time ago. Yeah.
I got an office job for the sole purpose of sexually harassing women.
Oh my god.
And you're gonna love this one for a future project we've been talking about in another pod, and I'm not going to spoil it too much. Limp Bizkit think they're black, but they're just gay. Beating up hippies for their drugs at a Fish concert.
Okay, that's a great song title.
It's just a good idea. They're not going to fight back.
My personal favorite Anal Cunt song, and like legit, it's actually a really good song. It's the riff rips for days. I Lit Your Baby on Fire.
Hell yes. Light Babies on Fire. I do have a thing for songs about killing babies. Who doesn't love Last Caress? Like, I don't know.
Legit though, I Lit Your Baby on Fire is easily my favorite Anal Cunt song. The riff on that song is just fucking killer. You can't find it on YouTube or Spotify now, but it's fantastic. So what do you guys think of Anal Cunt and Seth Putnam? Are they cool or what?
I'd never read quite all of the backstory, but
I just remember the picture of Seth getting his dick sucked, and he's standing there naked, and he's fucking tied off.
Yep, that was the picture I wanted to post. That was a picture I wanted to post in the chat. Evan, are you ready for this?
I have seen that picture. It is
Jess,
amazing.
have you seen this picture?
No, I haven't.
Post it.
Get ready for it.
Oh my god.
Just a cool guy.
How did these fuckers... Oh, they got signed to Earache, I guess. I was gonna say, how could these fuckers afford, like, Marshalls and shit? Like, no one's buying this.
Dude,
also, if you didn't notice the tour with I Hate God and Goat Whore, some legit bands in the grindcore scene.
Dude, he's tied off with an amp cable.
Yeah.
This guy's brutal as shit.
And you notice, like, she's putting in the work to suck that dick.
Yeah, for some reason, I don't think it's that much work.
Yeah.
I think he had, to be fair, I think I've seen a picture of his dick, because of course everyone should see a picture of Seth Putnam's dick at some point. It's like average, I don't know. Try.
I'm going to try to confirm that right now.
Unlike G.G. Allen, who G.G. Allen did legit have, like, a micro dick, so.
He did.
Oh no, if you see him on stage, like, naked walking around, he's got a baby dick. He's got a baby dick. Oh, man, shit.
If we keep doing, like, just bands, next I want to do SZA Crack story.
I've never heard of that person.
He was
excited.
in Choking Victim, Leftover Crack.
I've heard of Leftover Crack before.
I talk about them every 15
album,
minutes,
right?
so.